Good morning. Good morning, Deb. Happy Tuesday. Almost the end of the month. I forgot my husband had to go to the dentist today and I forgot. So I don't know. I didn't know what day it was. So I was confused. And then he texted me and said, "Oh, I'm on my way home." I'm like, "Were you? I didn't even know you were gone." So whatever. We lose track of the days as it turns out. Good morning, Ruth. Um, yeah. Well, I guess we can get going. It's like 5 minutes past. See if some more people turn up as we go. I spoke with Jan yesterday at Garfield and told her that I didn't think, I was going to be doing outdoor yoga classes in the fall and winter. Uh, yeah, their option was a space in the parking lot, which I just didn't really think was going to work for us. So they are, I think, going to have at least one group fitness and maybe something else there too, maybe a line dancing. I'm not exactly sure. But I think they're going to go ahead with that. They'll be in the parking lot, and I think they're going to try to do them, um, you know, for the foreseeable future. I don't know. I don't know what the particulars will be, like how they'll decide if they don't have class or how they're going to notify people. Um, but you can always call over there. I don't know. I don't think there's anybody there. I think um, it'll get transferred to someone at home to let you know what's going on. The other thing is to just look at the county website. They have the Hockessin classes up there, and I'm sure they'll have the Garfield Park classes up there eventually too. Good morning, Barbara. So yeah, so if you're interested in doing some of those group fitness classes, while the weather isn't too bad, and as long as you're up on your feet, and um, so you'll see any broken glass that might be in the parking lot, or also, you can wear a coat and things like that without it being an issue um, for something like line dancing or whatever. So I don't know. It's an excuse to get out of the house. You could always try it, and if you don't like it, you don't have to go back. But I appreciate that they're trying to do some stuff. I'm sure it's very frustrating for them um, because their whole reason for being there has disappeared, right? They can't offer the services that they would like to. So, um, it, I got to say, outdoor classes probably would have been a better idea for the summer, but the wheels of the county turn slowly. Um, I guess we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Um, so we'll just continue classes here, and that'll be fine. I'll be interested to see what it's going to be like in here in the winter, though. Um, I'm going to have to move my set around a little bit because where I am, the laptop is set up right on top of the radiator, which might be okay. I may have to uh, put something underneath it or move it around. I'm not really sure. Um, but yeah, it's so when we moved into this house, um, Hi, Dora. My son, my youngest, was like just under a year, I think. Um, and or maybe he was just over a year. I don't know. Yeah, I think he was just over a year. And um, we put him in this front room here because it was right across the hallway from our room. And it was a nice sunny room, and I thought it would be good for a baby. And I guess the people that we bought the house from, we must have been in contact. Oh, I know. We were in contact with them about they had the lot behind us, and we're supposed to be cutting the grass, and they weren't. So we were talking to them about that, and they asked, how had we set the house up or whatever, and I mentioned that my son was in this room, and they were horrified. They said, "That's the coldest room in the house. How can you put a baby in there?" And I didn't have the heart to tell them that, the reason it was the coldest room in the house was because they never bled the radiator. So, if you have never been around radiators, they have it's a closed system, but they get air in them periodically, and you do need to um, release the air. So you have a little key that you do, and you go around. And actually, I haven't done it in quite a while. I probably should. Um, but yeah, if you don't do that, then air builds up, and then of course none of the hot water can circulate, and it's it's cold. So yeah, it was the hottest room in the house then after after we did that. Um, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We might be doing hot yoga in here. Come um, so radiators are kind of fun. They're kind of a mess. We had one crack one time, and um, water everywhere, and they're kind of iffy because you can't. There was a couple of rooms in the house that I've never really been able to heat properly. I don't know what's up with them, but um, as with many things in an old house, sometimes you just don't want to look too closely. you know, if their water isn't spraying all over the floor and icicles aren't forming in the corners, then I'm just going to let that go. There are a lot of other rooms I could be in instead. The laundry room comes to mind, which is fine. I don't need the laundry room to be too well heated, but um, so yeah, so we'll just keep going here and see how that goes. So today, um, let's talk a little bit about alignment. So this idea of alignment, um, there's physical alignment, right? And we talk about that a lot with yoga, going through the asana and the various ways to do it. Some schools of yoga, different sort of systems of yoga um, are more focused on alignment than others. So um, Iyengar is one system where they are really sticklers about alignment. So there's a lot of props. People use a lot of props. They work very on the poses very intensely in a very specific way. And um, this idea of yoga as therapy um, is, and I like so almost like, and there are yoga therapists out there that use yoga sort of as a form of physical therapy. The idea being that doing the yoga poses in a specific way and very precisely can help realign the body in certain ways. So that can be very helpful, right? Other types of yoga aren't as picky about that, right? So vinyasa, which is more or less what we're working on, is more focused on the movement and finding the alignment within your body, which is always important. I mean, even if you're doing a very alignment based yoga, I would hope that they would stress the idea of making that alignment work for your body instead of trying to, twist your body into um, a shape that you may or may not be ready or able to ever get into. There are certainly some poses that aren't accessible to us for a lot of reasons. Either they require a level of flexibility and strength that we have not attained, or we may never attain. Or there is just something specific about your body that makes that difficult. And um, those body, um, unless it's something that you could change about your body, um, that will never happen. So I'm thinking people that are very heavy, right? So sometimes when you're very heavy in the legs or the lower part of the body, um, doing some of the things where you're twisting or getting one leg on over the top of the other is very difficult. And it doesn't have anything to do with alignment. It's just the way your body is at this point in time, right? It doesn't mean you'll never be able to do it. But there are some physical limitations that we all have at certain times of our life. So um, just like if you were, say, pregnant, there would be poses that would be not recommended for you to do. Um, Simply because of the way your body is shaped and what's going on with your body at this point in time. So I like to stress that with people that if you are feeling like there are certain poses that are unavailable to you because of the way your body is, um, it's not, there's nothing weird about that or unusual. Everybody has limitations based on a lot of things, injuries, um, genetic things. I've come across a lot of unusual things in my teaching with people who um, can't do things with their body. Their body is not designed that way. So it's kind of a joke, but like every time I have a rule, like every time in yoga, like someone, teaches me a rule, like you have to do it this way. I can guarantee you I'm going to meet someone very soon that will show me that they can't do it that way. But they're perfectly fine the way they're doing it. And my rule is dumb. So I've learned there really aren't any hard and fast rules with this, except, right, be careful, be comfortable, right? Um, and by comfortable, I mean, you know, don't do something beyond your range of motion. It may not always feel comfortable, like, oh my gosh, sitting in a comfortable chair, but you'll know the difference between slight discomfort and, real pain, or even getting yourself in a place where you feel unsure. If you are getting into a pose that you feel like you can't necessarily hold, or there's something you feel a little insecure, like your knee is moving in a way that does not work, or something is, you'll get a feeling like, okay, this is not, I'm going too far. Come back. Don't go that far. It could be a temporary thing, might just be today. You need to ease up. Or it could be that there is just something it's just not going to happen. So better we err on the side of doing less than going too far and getting injured, right? So alignment is all about um, keeping going, right? If we don't do things in alignment, we'll have to stop. We'll have to recover and fix whatever we've injured ourselves with, right? So the other type of alignment that we talk about is this idea of aligning our words, thoughts, deeds, um, being in alignment so that we aren't saying one thing and doing another. Um, That is a simple sort of route to peace and happiness. When you are doing those things, when you are out of alignment, you there is no way that can end well, right? You are doing, um, you're setting up an imbalance in the body, right? Just like you would if you were extending too far or trying to turn your feet in a way that your feet just don't move. Um, as we physically need to work on alignment, we also need to make sure that we are doing that within other parts of the body. Um, if you are saying one thing to people, but you're doing something completely different, you might get away with it for a little while, right? They say you can fool some of the people some of the time, or all of the people some of the time. I don't know. There's a quote about that, right? Um, and you can, right? And you can fool yourself most of all, right? You can convince yourself that you are doing these things when you really aren't. Um, so that's an important thing to look at, right? Are your actions aligning with your words? And if they aren't, why is that? Sometimes it's because what we are saying is outlandish, right? We're holding ourselves into a verbal and holding other people to a verbal standard that even we can't achieve. Um, Sometimes it's because we say things that we think other people want to hear, but we have no intention of actually doing those things, right? We don't really want those things. We'll never want those things. Um, and that's important to know too. Why talk about things that you have no intention of doing, right? You're not fooling anybody. You're not. There's no benefit to it. So don't don't go there. Um, so we're trying to set up again. We're trying to set up this beneficial um, environment in the body, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. Um, and when there's conflict, internal conflict with your actions and your thoughts and your beliefs, right? That's another thing. Your beliefs, right? We think we have beliefs that we really don't have. We're not living those beliefs. We are saying that we believe everyone is one, but we are excluding some people from that equation. Um, we are not, right, lining up with our actions. So at that point, we need to decide, right? Do we just need to clean up our act and start acting like we know we should? Or do we have a crisis of belief, right? Do we really not believe that? And that's another issue, right? If we really don't believe that, then that might be something that we need to think about. Like, why don't we believe that? We could intellectually, in our brain, believe it, right? Because we've heard it, because we've read it, because it seems to make sense, but we don't feel it within. So that may take some excavating, right? Dig in there and find out why. Find out what's stopping you. Where are you feeling blocked with that? So we're moving towards this better alignment, and we may never right get there. Just like if you have old injuries or some kind of a genetic situation, or even you just don't want to work that hard. You may never get certain poses. There may be this pose that you're like, wow, that is a really cool pose. I would love to be able to do that. Well, we see people do these poses. And if you've ever looked online, looked on Instagram, there are people doing crazy poses all the time, taking pictures of it. What they don't show you is the hours and the stages of that pose that went before, and how long it takes to get your body into a place where you're ready to do that pose. Um, you may not be willing to put in that amount of time. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that you should. There's certainly, don't feel bad if you don't want to. Um, it just may not be that important to you, and that's fine. Um, but again, knowing this, right? We tend to just quickly jump to, oh, I'm a failure. I can't do this. Instead of thinking, oh, well, there's a lot that goes into doing this. It's a lot more complicated than I thought it was. And I don't really have the time for this. I'm going to do something else. It's a perfectly reasonable choice. Um, again, we're in alignment, right? We aren't chasing something that we know we just, we're never going to do. um, and this allows us, when we let go of these things, it allows us to turn our attention to something achievable, something that we really want to put the time in. Or maybe doesn't even take that much time at all. It's just a matter of sticking with it, right? So alignment is for your benefit in all ways. It makes everything line up. It is what we would call this the key, really one of the keys to happiness and peace of mind, is getting things in alignment. Um, and I can't tell you how that alignment is going to look. That's up to you to decide. Um, but you'll know it when you'll feel it, right? When everything kind of lines up. There's a sense of internal well-being that comes from that. So we're gonna search for that. We're gonna work towards that. How about that? And just like in meditation, you have these moments of clarity and these moments of peace. It can be the same thing with the alignment, right? We're not in a constant state of that. I mean, maybe someday we will be. Maybe when we're very advanced. But for most of us, it's a short-lived it's a short-lived experience, and we keep working on it, right? It's like riding a unicycle. You're up for a little bit, and then you're down again. You're back up, and the more you work at it, the better we get. Sitting up tall, relax. Take one more breath, and then let your head hang down. Lifting up with the chin. Back to center, take a breath, and then move head to the right. Back up, and then moving to the left. And back up. Move forward, move around. One way and then the other. Coming up to your seat, arms wide. Breath in, exhale, hands together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Interlace the fingers, lift the hands, gazing up. And And then arms down by your side. Inhale, lift. And lower. Lift. Lower. One more, lift up. And then right arm by your side, reach across. The left. Switch. And then come back to your seat. Let's lift the shoulders, roll back. And forward. Left hand on right knee. Sit up tall. Take a twist. Back to center and switch. And then back to center. Walk the hands out. Back up and hands behind. Squeeze the shoulders together. Gaze up. Tabletop. Sitting back on the heels. Back up. Tabletop. Let's move through cat-cow for a few sets. Inhales and exhales. And then back into child's pose. Let's stack the fists. Rest the forehead. And back up. Tabletop to downward dog. Step the feet up. Be in a fold for a few breaths. Rising up slowly. Standing tall. Breath in and out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step back with the right. Drop your knee, arms overhead. Hands down to the mat, moving back. Downward dog. Inhale, high plank, and lower down. Inhale, lift, head and chest. Lower. Inhale, lift, and lower. Once more, lifting up. And lower. Moving back up. Tabletop, downward dog. One more breath. Then right foot steps up. Set your knee down, arms overhead. Hands down to the mat. Step the back foot up and fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Hands back by your side. Mountain pose. Breath in and breath out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, left foot steps back. Drop the knee, arms overhead. Hands down to the mat, stepping back. Downward dog. Inhale, high plank, and then lower down. Inhale, lift. Lower. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, inhale, lifting up and lower. Moving back up, tabletop to downward dog. One more breath. Then step, left foot up. Drop your knee down, arms overhead. And hands to the mat. Back foot steps up. Fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Arms high and back to your mountain. Breath in and out. And let's come to a seat on the mat. Soles of the feet together, sitting up tall. Shoulders back. Take a deep breath and lean forward. So if you find knees are lifting in this, you can always kind of press them down with the elbows, or you can rest the hands, but gently, right? You don't want to be pushing really hard, but you'll see sometimes that there's a fair amount of play, right? And we can just encourage a little more, a little closer, bringing it down a little closer to the mat. Back up, both legs out in front. Deep breath in, fold forward on your exhale. Back up. Bend this knee, right knee, this knee. That's not going to help you that much. We've got the sole of the foot to the floor, or hugging that leg in close. Then setting the knee out to the side, foot comes in. We're going to take a deep breath and then fold forward, reaching down for the foot. Up, Switch. Sitting up tall and then lowering the knee out to the side. Deep breath, fold forward. Back up, we're gonna bend this right knee. We're gonna bring this under, so the right knee is pointing outward. Bring that left leg on top as far as you can, right? One foot, or one hand on either foot. Deep breath, fold forward. And then back up. Switch. Left leg is under, right leg on top. Deep breath, fold forward. And back up. Unravel all the legs. Another fold. Breath in. Exhale, fold. Moving back up. Bend the knees. Soles of the feet to the mat. Coming down to rest on the mat for a few breaths. See how everything's feeling. So sometimes when I come onto my back, I have the knees bent, and I bring the knees together, the feet out to the outer edges of the mat. And it's kind of a preliminary stage for me before I extend the legs. Just depends, like how is my hip and pelvic area feeling today. Sometimes this just helps kind of smooth things out, and then I'll extend the legs. See how that does. The arms up overhead. And then bringing the hands back down by your side. We're going to move into bridge, supported bridge if you've got a block or cushion or something. You've got the heels back close to the body, lifting up. Find a good place for the block. Take a few breaths. If you want to, lift the legs or do whatever, you can kind of explore some different things with this. If you don't have the block flat, if you have it up on the end, you might want to hold either end of it while you're lifting the legs just to give yourself a little more stability. Lifting up. Let's remove the block. Press back down. Soles of the feet together. Knees apart. Take a few breaths. You could bring the arms up over the head again. Maybe grab opposite elbows. See how that feels. And then knees to center. Bring them into the chest. We can rock a little bit side to side. And then arms to a T or goalpost arms. We're going to start lowering the knees over to the right. Back to center, moving left. And back. Extend the legs straight up. And lowering down. Find a place that's comfortable, where you feel steady. Focusing on the breath. So, whatever it takes here to get you in a state of feeling peaceful and relaxed. Maybe you want to visualize something beautiful, a place that you love, where you feel safe and secure, where everything is good. Maybe a memory of a time when you felt particularly content. These moments in our life come and go because we know nothing stays the same. Everything is changing. But we can notice what about that, right? What about that particular time made you feel good? Um, it gives us clues, like what do we need? Right? What is um, right, our code, I guess you might say, right? Each of us have our own set of needs and desires, um, things that make us feel good and worthwhile. And everybody's, although, many of them are the same, everybody's are often, there's something a little different about them, a little special, unique to yourself. And if you're not sure what those are, you can look back at those times in your life when you felt at peace, you felt content. What was happening? What um, led you to that point? It will give you some clues about what are the things that motivate you, that make you feel like what you're doing is worthwhile. The final step, of course, in all of this is being able to hold that same state of mind no matter what is going on around, right? But we have to get there to start that. We have to understand what that is. What is that sense of peace and contentment? Just as we seek that muscle memory in the body by going through the asana, by holding the poses, we can get that same sense from our internal structure. Right? How does it feel when we're happy, when we are at peace? Right? Then we'll be able to hold that feeling regardless. Right? One of the things we do with the yoga nidra is we move through um, words to identify, the feeling behind those words, and also um, opposites, right? Opposite feelings. And in an attempt for us to notice, like how we can generate those feelings, right? Regardless of what's going on. Um, we aren't, if we can generate those feelings of feeling cold on a hot day or hot on a cold day, um, if we're aware of what those feelings are, we can create them, right? We are creating them right then. So it's kind of a bump, right? It's sort of a jolt sometimes when we realize that we are the ones that are creating this state of being within our body. We always think it's everything outside of us, but it's really not. It's, you know, what's happening with our own self. So once we realize that we are separate, um, that we aren't dependent on all the workings around us, then we can really be free. When you're ready, moving around a little, fingers and toes, hands and feet. And then making your way up to a seat. We'll bring hands together, deep breath in and out. Thank you for taking time today for some yoga, for sharing with me. I hope you have a great Tuesday. Namaste. Okay, let's move into some meditation. So find your seat, comfortable cushion, or whatever you want to do. Sitting up nice and tall, shoulders back. Breathing, close the eyes. Finding that peaceful space. Keep breathing. Okay, coming back. Breath in and breath out. All right, there you go. Yoga, meditation. Good start. Go get something done today, maybe. I don't know. I keep thinking it's going to rain. It looked like it was going to rain earlier. Maybe it's going to later. I don't know. But this is weird weather, right? Super damp and creepy. I'm not loving it. But I guess it'll change again soon enough. All right. Be back tomorrow for more yoga. Have a great day.